October 28th here, going out for a morning hunt. I don't really think the wind's perfect for this spot that I'm trying to go into, but the deer were moving last night. I had a bunch of little bucks harassing the does, chasing them, and a lot of opportunity, and I just feel like I need to be in there, so I'm going to try to put my back against the creek and still get in there next to the scrape. Over the night, one of my shooter bucks was in there hitting that like a couple hours ago, 4 or 5 o'clock, and right now it's 6 and sunrise is like 7:40. So, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I think you could wait and be hesitant and do just as much damage as not getting in there, especially on public land. So anything could change on any given day. Well, morning, 33 degrees, and we're just pumped to go get in the saddle and try to throw an arrow at a big white-tailed New York public land deer. So wish me luck, and I'll be in touch. And let's get her done. We live for this shit. Let's go. Well, I wanted to get on here and narrate a little bit because there's a lot that happens, and I'm going to shorten it up so it doesn't seem too boring in the video. But so you guys can see, I stopped it when this doe was coming right at me here. And when I first saw the buck behind her, I hadn't seen her yet. And I mean, we're talking not chasing or anything. They're just kind of together, coming through the woods. And you know, this time of year, they don't have to be chasing, but pretty much if that doe goes in a general location, he's going to follow. So she comes right at the base of the tree. So I think 5-10 yards on the uphill side of me, which most of the deer were going on in this area, I would have had this buck dead in the rights. But it wasn't the case on this day. It seemed like what could go wrong did go wrong, and she came down 5 yards on the bottom side of my tree, and as you could see, started to get a little bit of wind. Didn't act too goofy, but during this time, the buck had stood about 40-50 yards behind her, and where I stop, you can see his feet a little bit if you pay attention to the top of the screen. And then, which is good, he's behind a tree, so I can't see him and he can't see me. But what also I think has a big factor in why I went to stop him later on, as you'll see when I finally get a chance. I'm not going to make you hold, but I waited 5-10 minutes after that doe did her little loop and headed back. He finally made his break. But what I'm saying is, if I could have seen his body language, I think it would have made a big difference on maybe if I would have tried to stop him or not. He just seemed like, you know, he was gonna, it just seemed like the right thing in that moment. But I'm also trying to shoot him inside the camera lens. So when you got a limited amount of time and a limited amount of opportunities to shoot him, you try to stop him where your camera's already at and stuff like that. But looking back, if I would have been able to read that deer's reaction the whole time, I probably would have not stopped him. But it just kind of made me feel like he was less spooked, I guess, when the way he was acting when I did see him. But there you have it. That was the first encounter of a really nice buck. Here's the rest of the video. I knew I wanted to hug this. I wanted to hug this creek, this ravine to my back. And I bet you if I would have picked that tree about 10 yards to my left, instead of the one I'm in, I would have shot that buck at 20 yards easy. But I've got the wind going down to my left, and that doe came in below me. She knew something was up. That buck stood behind her. We waited it out. She started to cut down the hill. I drawed on him. He was 38 yards. And I made a little noise to stop him. And he spooked. They didn't know what I was. They just came in trying to be downwind. What are you going to do? I mean, I'm not going to take a walking shot at that range, so maybe I could have waited a little longer to see if he stopped on his own, but hindsight's 20/20. What a stud. What a stud. Then like 5 minutes later, we had that smaller 8-point come down through. It's happening here in New York. It's freaking awesome. I'm not discouraged. I always say everything happens for a reason, so the chase continues. And there's another big buck in here. So hopefully I get a chance at either that same buck or that other one I've been seeing, or who knows, this time of year anything could show up. But I love the end of October, baby. It was sweet to see my first public land giant. That's an old deer. Big old 8-point with a busted off G2. He's a stud. Alright, see what happens.
That was an exciting morning. Ooh, can't say anything bad about that hunt. I don't think it's been a long time since I've seen the number of bucks that I saw this morning, and had an opportunity at one of my 2 shooters, and I I think just misplayed it. I mean, I had him in range. I just didn't pull it off. And that's the guy that I just saw in there. I'm hunting public land. There's some private right there, and that guy just watched me walk out of the woods, because I kind of walk up out of the public. Hindsight, knowing that they're a little on edge, maybe I shouldn't have tried to stop him. Maybe I mean, when you're bow hunting in the woods, I mean, you gotta try to pick a lane in between trees, but I would take a walking shot within 20, but I don't know about 38. So I needed him to stop, and it's just the way it worked out today. I still saw, like, I don't even know. I tried taking video of multiple different 4 points, a couple smaller 8s, one decent 8. I bet you he goes 3 years old. He's been on the camera and here and there in that spot, and them all came right to me. I could have shot him. So that was just textbook for state land, public hunting. First time ever I had multiple opportunities at buck. That was the first sit in state land I've ever had opportunities at bucks bigger than 1.5 years old. So that's a win for me, and we'll be back October 28th, and I don't know. I've been living for this. I mean, I lived for this my whole life, but to dream about these type of hunts is all I've thought about. I mean, I've caught a lot of good bucks over my 25 years. I'm 26 in a couple days. On Halloween's my birthday, and I just been dreaming about public land hunting, and it's it looks like there's a lot of fun to be had. So we're gonna get back out there this evening. Hopefully, I'm just leaving the woods. It's like 11:30, and really, it was a day I feel like you could have saw movement all day. I saw movement up till like about 10 o'clock. But I'm gonna try to get out, get something accomplished, and then maybe get back in there this evening. My brother and I are real busy. We're starting to, you know, get into the woods a little bit more, but we decided to do our own self-employment last year around this time, and you know, that takes up a lot of time. We do butcher shop, and we have a tent rental business. So we just got done pouring some concrete last Friday. Today is Monday, and yeah, it's just a lot of work that's got to be done in between getting these hunts in, and we enjoy it and we love the grind. So I'm glad to be finally in the woods. My first opportunity at a shooter this year, and it's just exciting knowing I got a couple of weeks of bow hunting ahead of me. And we're gonna put some back straps in the freezer, and hopefully put a rack on the wall here shortly. So stay tuned. Woo! We are set up of the evening of October 28th. What an exciting morning we had. I was sitting just about 20 yards up in a tree right there, and one of my shooter bucks crossed this log right here. When I tried to stop him at 38 yards, he busted. So we moved down a little bit because I still have a southeast wind going down into the gully behind me, and we're just banking that he doesn't try to come up that way. But we've got acorns below us sitting on this side hill, and we're just blessed to be out here. It is the time to be a freaking bow hunter. Yeah, let's go. Well, we had a good October 28th. It was, man, watching this film over really makes me excited. It was an eventful day. I think when I look at the time difference between the videos taken and how many bucks were coming through, like, I had just minimal time in between seeing different, but I think I left the stand at 10:30, 11. Probably would have been a good day to sit all day. Probably wasn't able to that day or whatever. But, I mean, I had bucks on their feet from the
first hour, I think, was when I had the chance at the big one to, you know, all the way till 10:30, 11 o'clock. So that was really exciting. It's always fun to get this video back out, sticking it out there on the internet for you guys to check it out. But man, what a fun day. That's if we could have every day in the woods like that, that's what we dream about when we're sitting here thinking about bow season. So that was a big, I don't know, big first for me. I had been doing this public land thing for a little bit now. Just mainly this is the first year I really like said, this is what I'm doing. I'm going all in. But just to get that first mature whitetail in the woods, in range, didn't come together, but that's all right. I'm big into trying to capture it all, so that plays a factor too. But man, that's pretty exciting, and I'm glad that I'm getting this put together so you guys can enjoy it as much as I did. But that's my main goal here, is just to throw it out there, show my failures, show everything, so everybody can maybe get something from it and understand that there is a lot of good things out there and good opportunity in the just typical public land that you can find anywhere. So that was my first encounter with this buck. I do have another one. Days later, you stick after it, and that's what I did. And even though I still came up empty-handed, I want you to check that one out. It'll be up soon. Take it easy.